Nothing we say is investment advice. Please pause on all 3 pages of this disclaimer and read it. Greetings, Algo artisans. It is Monday, January the 12th, and right now it is 6:41 p.m. EST. We're going to take a look at some of the usual suspects today. Before we get too far, please take a look. Link is in the description for a free algo. I put the algo together for you. I show you how I did it. I show you how to translate that into code, and I show you how once you have optimized it, you can connect it to your brokerage so it can trade for you while you're not even sitting at the computer. That is the dream. Check it out. Okay, so today we're going to take a look at the NASDAQ, USDJPY, EURUSD, Bitcoin, GBPJPY, gold, and silver. Before we do that, we're going to take a look at the news and economic events over at forexfactory.com. Now, it is going to be a bit of an unpredictable week. We have CPI tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. EST. We also have at 5 a.m. EST, Bank of England Governor Bailey speaks, but the big event this week is the CPI 8:30 a.m. EST that could really throw markets for a tizzy or not, depending on how the data comes out. The next morning, 8:30 a.m. on Wednesday, we have the PPI, that's Producer Price Index, while CPI is Consumer Price Index, and this could be equally as powerful and effective on the market. So really, this week is unpredictable, and all of the charts I'm doing just reflect what the algos say price might want to do if nothing exciting happens with these data coming out. Let's move on to Thursday. Right at the European Open, we have British GDP month over month, and then 8:30 a.m. EST as usual. Thursday, we have unemployment claims for the US, and Friday, no news. So once the CPI and PPI data come out, there's not a whole lot going on, but those 2 bits of data really could change things and make them very unpredictable this week. So like I said, we're going to take a look at the charts, and I'm just going to say what the algos say price wants to do, and understand that could get thrown right off tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. EST. Let's go ahead and take a look at the NASDAQ. In the absence of crazy news, the NASDAQ is probably going to want to grind up. The lower bound I'm looking at right now, which is the place where price may not want to go below, is 25,563. And below that is a deeper lower bound at 25,263. I don't think price is going to go there outside of crazy news, but if there is a spike downwards, those are the 2 areas I might be looking at for support in the NASDAQ. And then the upper bound, which is the all-time high, is 26,404, at least on the CME. And that is where price may go. Whether there is crazy news or not, it may want to just grind up there, but if the news is very bullish for the market, price may simply stab up to that area and go beyond. Let's take a look at USDJPY. Again, in the absence of any very crazy news, price looks like it wants to grind and go sideways. Of course, it may very well just go sideways and then grind up, but either way, I'm looking at up and to the right. That's the basics. We do have a bit of a lower bound here where price may not want to go below, and that's locally at 157.34, but price could try to actually go down and get stuck a little bit higher than that right here at 157.795. Now the upper bound is going to be 158.82. That's where price may not be able to make it past. If it does, then there should be a lot of room for price to head up. Let's take a look at EURUSD. Now, this one wants to go sideways with a slight amount of bearishness, but we're starting to get to the point where price may want to range or even switch directions upward. We just don't know if it's going to happen this week or not. And of course, crazy CPI, PPI could make that happen. But in the absence of crazy news, I expect price more or less to grind sideways this week. Lower bound is going to be at 161.63, and local upper bound is going to be at 169.82. Now, if we do get some crazier spikes, then the more local upper bound is going to be 117.45, and then your lower bound is at 155.48 way down here. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Not expecting a whole lot out of Bitcoin. There is a high time frame bullishness that is keeping price from falling. The local lower bound is sitting right here at about 89,305, and it does seem that 90,000 has been holding going back to last week. Price could try to grind up. Local upper bound is 94,809, but 94,000 is a psychological number, and price may not be able to make it past 94. Now, if price can spike past 95,000, the next level we're looking at is going to be about 98, 99,000, and we're going to see what price does if and when it makes there. Now, if price dips below 90,000 or much deeper, then we're looking at 83,000 if it cannot stay above 88,000 for an extended period of time. Let's take a look at GBPJPY. Now, this one has been on a tear. It may need to take a break, though. It's been going up since last Thursday. Of course, nothing happens over the weekend, but I do expect this to remain bullish. Whether or not it can stay above this local high of 213.03, which it just made in the previous hours, that's another story. Price may need to actually retrace, and maybe even deeper than I drew, but a nice spot where price could retrace to is 212.18, and then it may want to continue up with the upper bound at 214.49. That would probably be the high where it starts to knock its head. Lower bound is going to be a pretty strong 210.04, 210.05. That's the area where price may not be able to go back down. I just don't see it happening. It's very bullish. It broke out. I think it's just going to continue heading up. Maybe not as fast as what I drew, but something like that. Let's take a look at gold. Gold getting the slam down, but right now it appears that 45.50 should hold. It may go deeper, it may not. I do expect gold to continue to remain bullish, especially in the presence of geopolitical pressures to the upside, and it's just merely a matter of how high it goes. Just like last week, it played out just as I thought last week, where it was either going to go a little bit more up or a lot more up. We do have an upper bound at 47.76, which is a fib level, and also we have price almost knocking its head today on the closest fib level at 46.51, but again, price could just continue up and up and up after making all-time highs in the hours today. Let's take a look at silver. Silver also made all-time highs today, topping out on spot at 86.30 or so. It may need to take a break, but this may not go any deeper than it already has. I think it could stop at 82.78. Any extension downward in silver like this would mean that it needs to take a longer break, and we'll just have to play that out as it comes. But I do expect more geopolitical tension. We have Iran, Venezuela, everything else in the world, and I think gold's price will be buoyed by this, whether it goes sideways and up or just up. We have a couple of levels to look at, 87.70 and 92.50. Now, I did expect price to break out there even as early as last week. It did not do so. It didn't really break out until just the end of the week. And of course, in the hours today, the futures open up Sunday and today's trading was very bullish. Well, that is the look for this week. Again, these charts are all based on not having any crazy surprise news coming out from the economic data, which is going to be tomorrow and Wednesday, 8:30 a.m. EST, CPI and PPI. That could just completely throw all these charts out and off. So understand that if you're trading, I would be protecting my positions. And as the week bears on, we are live at 8:30 a.m. EST Tuesday through Thursday, where I will go ahead and reevaluate what I've done on the Sunday night chart and see if we can figure out what's going to happen next, especially on a lower time frame. So please join us live. Go to the description, get the free algo links in there. Again, that's going to show you how I build the algo and the tools that traders use to connect the algo to their broker so it can trade without them even being at the computer. Once they have optimized the algorithm for their own trading, it's way easier than you think. And remember, at Algo Factory, we teach people how to do that, how to build their own algo. So you could build an algo that's even stronger than what I have built. And I would love for somebody to come on in, learn from me, and then beat me and show me how it's done. That would be awesome. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you bright and early Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 8:30 a.m. EST sharp.